Pete the Cat Train Trip by James Dean. Pete the Cat cannot wait to visit his grandma with his mom and his brother Bob. They get to ride a train. Make sure you don't lose your ticket, says Mom. She gives one ticket to Pete and one to Bob. Pete looks up at the big board. Our train is leaving at 10 o'clock, he says. A train speeds by. That's not our train, that's a cargo train, Bob tells Pete. It's finally 10 o'clock and the train arrives at the station. All aboard, calls the conductor. Pete is so excited, he's the first one on the train. Pete's mom finds 3 seats together. I can't wait to see Grandma, says Bob. I can't wait to explore in the train, said Pete. The conductor comes to collect the tickets. Pete hands his over. I love trains, says Pete. Really? I can show you around if you like, says the conductor. Pete nods his head. The conductor gives Pete an engineer's hat. Great, let me introduce you to the engineer, says the conductor. Pete follows the conductor from car to car as the floor rumbles under his feet. Wow, Pete says when they get to the caboose, we're going over a bridge. Pete sees his mom and Bob. They're at the snack bar. I got this for you, says Bob. Pete follows the conductor. He goes to the front of the train. Come in, says the engineer. Wow, Pete says. The engineer shows him the engine and how everything works. The engineer shows Pete the train's brakes. Look, there's a tunnel up ahead. When they go through the tunnel, everything gets dark. Pete gets to honk the horn. Toot, toot. It's so much fun. Once they're out of the tunnel, everything's light again. They're almost at Grandma's house. Pete better get back to Mom and Bob. Thanks for showing me around, Pete says. He learned so much about trains today. Any time. Have fun with your grandma, says the engineer. Pete walks back to his seat, where Mom and Bob are. It's much longer of a walk than he remembered. He stops and meets new friends along the way. They live in different towns. They're getting off at different stops. What a groovy ride. There's Pete's seat. It's good to see Mom again. We're getting off at the next stop, says Pete's mom. Pete is happy he made it back to his seat in time. He can't wait to see Grandma. Toot, toot. Pete looks out the window and sees Grandma! He waves at her from the window. Once the train doors open, Pete is the first one off the train. He rushes over to give Grandma a big hug. It feels good. How was the ride over? Asks Grandma. It was groovy. I got a cool hat. Met the engineer, says Pete. Pete loves riding the train. He drew a picture of the train for Grandma. Grandma loves it. What a special day. The end.